What's going on, guys? NealGuides here. Welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we've got some elite tactics for you. Maybe if you're pushing for your first elite weekend league, or maybe you just want to go for a higher rank. I've got an elite tactics set up. We've got a defensive formation, kind of a balanced formation, a 5-3-2 counter, which is a 5-3-2 on counter, should I say, which is a special that we're going over, and the 4-4-2. I'm going to go through each of these instructions. If you're new here, let me just quickly briefly explain. If you're trying to get better at the game and trying to improve your performance, the key thing is you want to create a defensive setup. So once where you have one formation to close out the game, let's say you're winning 2-0, your opponent's starting to become more attacking, maybe he's got his fullbacks in overlap, you need a formation to close out the game, or a more systematic defensive formation. You've got one formation which will be your main formation, normally like a 3-5-2. People also play a 5-2-1-2 or 5-3-2 or 3-5-2, depending on what you want to play. You can even see players using 4-1-2-1-2 second variation. Whatever formation you use normally that you're the most comfortable with, it goes in this slot. This is going to be your slot that would use your regular formation. We've added a new addition. We've added the 5-3-2 killer over here. So this is the formation specifically made to use against the 5-3-2. So your opponent's using a 5-3-2. This is the formation you want to use. And then we have the normal ultra attacking 4-4-2. This is what formation if, for example, you're losing 1-0 down, 2-0 down, do or die, you need to go and you need to team press. Let's first start with ultra defensive formation, balanced 4-3, balanced 4-4. Now the benefit of this formation, as usual, is that you still attack in a 4-striker formation. So by the way, I don't know why Rashford is there. Rashford normally plays on the wing for me. And I put Trent in the CDM role. So what I was saying is, if you're playing the 4-2-3-1, you can also use this formation to fill your opponent out, because don't forget, you still attack with 4 strikers. Why? These guys on comeback and defense, that means that when you lose the ball, they will come back on defense, they just won't stay forward. So that's the benefit. So this is still an attacking formation, but more of a formation where everyone's on comeback and defense, more of a formation to close the game out. So if your opponent is now playing a 5-3-2, maybe he's got his fullbacks on overlap. Let's say you're using whatever formation you're using normally. If you find out your opponent's being even more attacking, you can change this defensive formation to counter his players going forward. Because if he's only got 2 centre backs and everyone else is flying forward, you need to have everyone on comeback and defense. Having 3 players on stay forward will of course kill you. Don't forget, you can use long ball if you really want to, but I do use balance because I like to have my players close by, and obviously long ball makes the formation a bit more attacking, so do bear that in mind if you do use long ball. If you want, you can experiment with drop back, but I would strongly advise against it because it implies and adds more pressure in. So that is your defensive formation. Here we have the normal formation. I'm using the 3-5-2 here. If you are using the 5-3-2, feel free to slot that in here. Don't forget, I got a formation video for both the 5-3-2, for any formation that you want that I have made. So I got a formation video on the 5-3-2, 5-2-1-2, 3-5-2, or even if you want to just use your own formation, slot it in this slot. This would be the formation I use for most of the game. Let's say it's 0-0. I'm using my typical 3-5-2, 4-5 long ball, 6 and 3, and then for the instructions we have stay forward, stay central, get it behind for both the strikers. We have the strikers on balanced, and my cam on stay forward. Do not forget, if you are an elite player and below, let's say you're going for elite, but let's say you're not a consistent elite player, put one of these strikers on, I would say, come back and defense, just to ensure that defense stability. Otherwise, you can leave them on stay forward if you're an elite 3, elite 2 player plus. But obviously, don't forget, you'll just be defending with 2 CDMs. So if you're below elite 3, I'd recommend having this guy on come back and defense. That way, you make a midfield 3 and you defend in a back 5. The 3 with Ronaldo joints, and then a 1-1. So it's a 5-3-1-1 system. We've got the left mid and right mid. Both of them will come back defense, get into the box conservative, and get it behind for both the left mid, right mid. And don't forget, you'll be using the D-pad tactics, hug the sidelines. You activate the D-pad tactics, hug the sidelines in the game. So these guys are very wide. Even though you've got 6 width, they'll be even wider with hug the sidelines. Both CDMs on cut passing lanes, stay back while taking cover center, and a back 3 on stay back. So again, this is the formation I'll be using most of the game. I still prefer the 3-5-2 just because for me personally, I like to have my left mid and right mid a bit more internal. I don't really cross the ball, so the 5-2-1-2 and the 5-3-2, yes, they're kind of broken. The fullbacks are unmarked, but because I don't cross the ball, I almost see it to be irrelevant having my fullbacks kind of on the wing areas rather than having them a bit more centralized, so I can at least distribute the ball to my left mid and right mid, bringing them into the play when I'm outside the box. But as I said, feel free to use whatever normal formation you want to. So the key thing is, maybe you'll start with a 4-2-3-1, suss your opponent out, and then you will go to the 3-5-2 for the remainder of the game. Now let's say, for example, if your opponent's using the 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2 or any formation that has a 3 defender variation, this is the counter for that. Now the key thing is, don't switch this formation straight away. If you're playing the 3-5-2 up against the 5-3-2, play with this formation, because if you're better than your opponent, you can still beat him with the formation. For example, most of the time, I don't need to change to this formation. But if you're really struggling, like 5-3-2 versus the 5-3-2, and you really can't break through with your formation, then you'll use this formation. This is basically how you break down the 5-3-2. Instructions: stay central, stay forward, get in behind for all 3 of your strikers. So basically you're creating a 3 versus 3 situation up against your opponent's back, if that makes sense. We have the center mids on CDMs on drop between defenders, and we have the left center mid and right center mid on get forward. So your opponent will have a back 3. You'll have these 2 guys breaking the line, and then we have the left back and right back on join attack, conservative, and overlap. So obviously when your opponent's playing, let's say he's playing a 5-3-2, he's going to have a center mid here, and he's going to have a left center mid, right center mid, and he's going to have his left back here, right back here, and then he's going to have his 2 strikers. So the idea is that over here is that you're going to have 2 center mids join the attack, and you're going to basically break through in behind over here, and then you're going to have the 3 strikers up against your opponent's back 3, and then you've got the left back and right back overlapping to create the numerical advantage. So again, left back and right back join attack, conservative, overlap. Make sure your TDM's on drop between defenders, that way you got a back 3 if you do lose the ball. Left center mid, right center mid, get forward. And the 3 strikers on stay forward, getting behind. So they're always staying forward, creating that 3v3. And when the center mids join the attack, you get the numerical advantage. Balanced widths on 4, 6. As I said to you, you can experiment with drop back if you want to, if you do really struggle, but I wouldn't recommend it. Balanced, fast build up plays. The idea is that your players are higher up the pitch. That way when you get the ball, you can pass the ball to your 3 strikers almost immediately to create that 3 versus 3 situation with your left center mid and right center mid supporting. We've got fast build up plays, so everyone surges forward. So when you get the ball, these guys run forward, these guys do join the attack, and then so do these guys. Most of the time you create a situation where you always have more numbers attacking than your opponent. It's just up for you to defend after that. Fast build up play 3, want to be narrow as possible. 3 strikers staying centrally. Players in the box, we have them on 6. If you're left back and right back, when they do go forward, they'll get into a good chance. That is the 5-3-2 killer. Only change this formation if you need to. So don't change this formation straight away. Only change if you need to. So let's say, for example, as I said, you start on a 4-2-3-1. Let's say you suss your opponent out. Let's say you go to your normal formation. Now let's say you're 1-0 down. Maybe you stay in your 3-5-2. If, for example, you then go 1 or 2-0 up, you'll go to your more conservative 4-2-3-1. But let's say you're 1-1, let's say you're 1-0 down and using your 3-5-2, whatever formation you use normally, and you're struggling only against the 5-3-2 or 5 defender variation, then you'll change to this formation. The key thing to use this is to use it sporadically. So use it for 10 minutes in the game, then switch back. You basically want to shock your opponent, because your opponent won't see it coming. He'll be like, hang on, he was using a 3-5-2. Now he's got players on stay forward, players basically running in behind. So it's a bit of a kind of a risky situation. Now I play my 3-5-2 with my 3 strikers on stay forward. So I normally stay on a 3-5-2 first before I use the 4-3-2-1. If then I cannot go past, only if my opponent's using a 3-5-2, 5-3-2, 5-2-1-2, as I said, any 3 or 5 defender formation, then I'll change this formation, use it in short bursts, use it for an attack, then go back to this formation. So the idea is you're only using that in short bursts. Then let's say, for example, you're now 2-0 down. Let's say your opponent is now holding the ball. Let's say you need to get the ball back. It's 75 minutes, you got to press. Then we have the 4-4-2, the ultra attacking formation, where you basically just team press him into the ground. Basically, is probably the best way of putting it. Constant pressure, full width. Obviously, when you want to be wide as possible, when your opponent's got the ball, you want to be very wide when you're defending. That way, you're covering most of the pitch. Very high depth, but not too high where you're getting a through ball in behind very easily. Fast build up play. That means when you do get the ball, everyone's going to surge forward. Natural width, because the 4-4-2 is pretty wide as it is. And of course, you've got the players in the box and the corners and free kicks on maximum. One striker stay forward, one striker stay central, getting behind and come back on the fence, and one of them's on stay forward. Don't forget, when your opponent has the ball, you don't want to leave these guys on stay forward, because your opponent will hold the ball outside your box with his two strikers. If he's playing like a 4-4-2 or whatever he's playing a 4-2-3-1, he'll be holding the ball over here. It's no point having your two strikers and your left mid and right mid on stay forward, because you're going to get outnumbered. So the idea is you want to press your opponent, you want every single person behind the ball, therefore you can then press him. But at least you've got one player on stay forward, just to kind of be there for that entry point, just in case you do win the ball back. I put Neymar there because Neymar's got less stamina than Ronaldo. Left mid, right mid, come back on the fence on default, so they'll still surge forward, but of course they will come back on the fence when you don't have the ball. Left centre mid and right centre mid. I don't know why Rashford's there. Probably just a mistake there. Left centre mid and right centre mid. Got one of them on step out while taking cover centre. The other one on get forward cover centre. So when you do win the ball back, you got a 4v4 situation up against his back four. If he's got 5 strikers, you got an extra man coming in, and that's enough for you to attack but also press at the same time. And left back and right back on stay back, so you don't get countered. The reason why you can't press with a 3 defender formation is because when your opponent has the ball, you'll just do a through ball down the wing and you'll keep getting killed. And with this formation, you can't press either because you've got too many players on stay forward. When you're pressing, contrary to belief, you actually want all your players to be behind the ball in a 4-4-2 system where you cover most of the pitch, and then you can team press from behind. And we have constant pressure on, that way it avoids you using the team press button. You don't have to flick it on the entire time. So as I said to you, the idea is, and then for the default tactic, we just have everything on 1. This is my anti-kickoff tactic. So obviously when you start the game, obviously this is just for formation. I play the 4-3-3. That's just my anti-kickoff formation. So my opponent kicks off first. I kind of got a defensive face for this. I don't use this for the game. It's just an anti-kickoff formation. As I said, I got a video for each of these tactics. So again, a defensive formation to close the game out. An ultra attacking formation if you're losing 2-0 and your opponent's holding the ball, playing for time, and you need to start pressing him. And then you have your normal formation, which you use most of the game. And then you'll have your special formation that you'll only use if your opponent's using a 5 defender formation, a 3 defender formation, and you're trying to counter it. But that is, of course, the tactics and instructions. I'm using a new team. I've also got Trent in my team. And as I mentioned to you, the 4-3-3, I don't actually use it. It's just my anti-kickoff formation. So I normally change to the 4-2-3-1 and then the 3-5-2 in game. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.